the Happy Hour podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Hello, welcome to Joel Fleischman's Happy Hour podcast.
Happy hour.
Episode number 51. Welcome, everybody.
Oh, are you really?
What are
Wait.
you having
This is we are sponsored by Central Waters Brewery in Amherst, Wisconsin, and it is the Happy Hour podcast. But today we are drinking a simple spotted cow from New Glarus, Wisconsin, New Glarus Brewing Company, of course. So cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
I didn't get the memo, darn it.
I didn't either.
Man, one of our first, maybe our first podcast that didn't have a beer with the guests. So congratulations. We always kind of start a little bit with famous. Well, first of all, who do we got on here, right? So we have Karen Wistrom from Dura Supreme, Steph Schwartzmiller from Schwartzmiller and Associates, and Beth Pouch, our cabinetry leader. All four of us are long-time friends in the industry and have worked together for many, many years. Before we do that, though, it's episode 51. Name some famous 51s. I can't think of a lot of famous 51s.
What was Butkus? No, he was.
Yeah.
Was he 51?
Oh, man. I'm looking it up.
Was he?
He's Googling. He's Googling.
Yep, we're Googling. It's all podcast Dukes. My producer's off today. Yeah, 51. Very good.
Wow.
That was good.
Well done.
Tough dude.
Other famous 51s, Sam Mills, love that dude. Trevor Hoffman from the Brewers. Willie McGee. Not many real famous ones.
51.
Yeah, Sam Mills.
I used to be 51 last year.
Was that
There
just
you go.
last year?
Mm-hmm.
Sam Mills was a hell of a linebacker for the Saints.
Yeah.
Love that dude.
5'10", tough as nails.
Tough as nails. Original tough as nails guy. Okay, well, welcome. Little bit bios about everybody. This is really a special guest here with Karen. So, Karen, where are you at right now? What do you do at Dura Supreme?
Well, thanks, Joel. Where are we at right now? We are at Dura Supreme headquarters, actually, which is in Howard Lake, Minnesota. I always kind of refer to it as the heartland of America, which we all are really right here in the heartland of America. Right here at Dura Supreme, where we are crafting cabinetry on an everyday basis for the fine customers of Drexel Building Supply.
And what is your role there, Karen?
I am the VP of marketing and involved with everything from product design, product development, and marketing this beautiful cabinetry product.
And when I got to know you originally, you were really, really were you like the trends person there? What was your title back in the day?
I was still marketing, and a lot of what I do, yes, is related to trends and staying kind of on the forward pulse of what is coming, not only in specifically cabinetry design and how it functions, but also colors, finishes, door style designs, and developing all that and delivering it to the market ahead of time as these trends start to develop and become in demand.
That's awesome. And that will be our absolute focus today on today's podcast. So that's going to be really cool. Schwartzy. So who are you? What's your role? How do you play in this supply chain?
That's right. So Stefan Schwartzmiller and Associates. So I have represented, our company has represented Dura Supreme since 2003. And about when you started.
About the same time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so our company takes all of her great ideas, and we communicate those to all of our great customers throughout the 11 states that we manage. So Schwartzmiller Associates manages the sales and marketing and training to ensure that all the Dura Supreme dealers out in that marketplace, because we go to basically only to dealers. I mean, you don't see us in any home centers or any builders direct. I mean, our to market is to kitchen and bath, lumber yards, and so I'm the liaison between manufacturer and Drexel, and to make sure that that people truly understand and know how to sell the product line, and to make sure again that Karen's message and her thoughts and her information gets to all the great salespeople at Drexel Building Supply.
You're basically the sales branch of Dura Supreme.
Yes.
Yeah. Good way to put it.
That would have been a lot easier. So,
Yeah. Sorry, Joel.
and we've known each other how long?
It's what, 12 years?
12 years, is that it? It seems longer, but we've had Dura Supreme here for about 12 years. Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe, yeah, 12, 13, maybe 14.
Close to 14.
Yeah, COVID is
Kind of a blur.
Yeah, right. So
Have you been on the podcast before? I feel like you have. No. Yes.
me?
Yeah.
Yes. Third
Yeah,
one.
it's your third one.
Yes.
Third
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Amazing. Same for
Yeah.
you, Beth. Are you also a third?
Yes.
I think we have record setters here. I don't think we've ever had a third Potter. So this is pretty big.
How many have you been in?
Well, this is my first official podcast
Oh.
with Drexel.
And Beth, I think you being the third podcast person, goes without saying she's our cabinetry leader. And how many people are in our cabinetry department currently?
We have 35 people on the
And-
cabinetry team. So
Wow.
I
And-
work
and
with them
sales
and help
there-
support them.
Thank you, Beth. And sales last year,
About 30 million.
30 million, which would break down to approximately how many kitchens?
No, I'm not good at that.
Well, we'll call it 20,000, 15,000 a kitchen. Is that right? 20,000?
Sure.
Yes. About 15.
Aaron says yes. So about 2,000 kitchens.
In a year.
In a year, and 250 working days. So we're looking at approximately 10 kitchens a day, all custom, all with the homeowner in mind. All that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool
Yeah.
stuff. Hopefully,
And when you think about that, what you just said there, how many homes that's actually homes and families that's actually affecting, the kitchen cabinetry design. I mean, it's custom tailored. There's nothing off the shelf. Everything is custom tailored, custom designed, not only to that particular home, but for that particular family and how they use their kitchen. There's no two kitchens anywhere that are exactly alike.
yeah,
I like
mean,
thinking
really, truly
about-
do.
I like thinking about it around Christmas time and all of the people who are spending that first holiday in their new kitchen.
Yeah.
It's fun to
Yeah.
think about at that time of the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hate to talk cabinets in degrees of volume because it really is one cabinet at a time, is one design at a time, it's one homeowner at a time. So it's hard to talk about in volume, but it's somewhere around 50,000 cabinets, 2,000 kitchens, 25 cabinets a house
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
ish. So that's pretty cool. That's good stuff, Beth. Thank you. So I guess our first question, and again, we'll get right to it. So we never seem to have enough time together, is Karen, why you're on, right? So talk to us today. Oh, it's like trends and go. So I don't want to say it that way, but it really is like, okay, what is popular March 2022? I want to know, I want to be on top of the trends. What am I looking for? What has changed? And I love the why. Why do things change?
There's a lot to unpack
Mhm.
there. So number
That's
one,
a super loaded question.
just kind of talking about, what has changed over the last, even the last couple of years, why it, has Drexel grown to, 35 people in the kitchen department. And so much of that has to do with what has recently happened with the pandemic and how things have changed just intrinsically as far as how people use their homes. There was so much less travel, so much less vacation, so much less eating out, and everything was transferring to homes. Everything from work to school to all of those interactions. And that and home has become the number one place where people are investing, not only investing their dollars, but investing their time. And the function, the way a home functions, the way it's designed, the way it looks, the way it welcomes, it's become the number one trend overall is investing in your home. So when you kind of break that down further and talk about so from a design standpoint, I mean, home design is a very fashion oriented industry. and kitchen design probably more so than anything. Some of the bigger trends in just, how cabinetry is designed and how that space functions. One example there would be just, the use of floating shelves and the use of cabinetry that comes all the way down to the countertop, so that you're kind of like what's in the kitchen behind us. But
is that a real image, or is that like a staged image?
It's a real photo. It's a photograph. It's not an actual kitchen behind us, but
I didn't even know. That's cool. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Karen.
Cabinetry that is designed to come right down to the countertop. So it kind of you develop these workstations. This is the breakfast area. This is the beverage area. This is the storage area. Coffee area. Yes. And then taking that further into just obviously painted cabinetry. Huge trend. I mean, everything has been, white painted cabinetry for so long. But, Beth mentioned earlier, just kind of starting to see now some of the white oaks, the hickories, these lighter, very natural wood grains, almost have a Scandinavian feel to it. And part of that is
it's a painted product. You can see the wood grain. Is that what you're saying, Karen?
Painted product mixed with, you can kind of see that even behind there, but painted product mixed with these lighter, more natural wood grains like oak, white oak, and hickory.
You still call that, what is that called? Transitional?
Transitional. Yes.
I'm just saying you can do anything. It's just mix and match is what I say, but that's a not very good marketing.
No,
straight lines.
Yeah, there, you said it. Transitional, a little more clean, a little more shaker, a little more Scandinavian, clean, streamlined design.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. And it's interesting on trends and how do you forecast trends? How do you see the next wave coming, Karen? Or how does Dura Supreme?
That is, there is a certain amount of magic to that. But it's also kind of keeping a finger on the pulse of what's happening with color. I sit on an organization's board called Color Marketing Group, and Color Marketing Group.
So are you in the Color Guild? We gotta go down a rabbit hole there. Are you in the Color Guild?
I'm not in the Color Guild.
You know what that is, right? Or am I saying that right? I'm not saying, I know colors. But there's like a color guild, right? That like picks the next year's color.
That is the Color Marketing Group. Yes.
Oh, that's you. Oh, you are.
That's CMG. That's the Color Marketing Group.
Mm-hmm. So tell me. So we just, this might be the whole pod. I have no idea. This Shaw flooring. I've been to your guys' factory, and again, anybody listening in or watching, if you ever get to a factory tour, Dura Supreme's one of the best I've been on. Shaw's right there as well. Shaw Floors probably has a 30-foot by 30-foot area with like 4 people year round that is just looking at colors. They have Vogue magazine, Cosmo, movie scenes, all posted on their board. They're tracking stuff around the country of what colors are selling. That's what they do full time. 4 people. It was really cool. You don't
really with flooring, it kind of comes. I mean, for the most part, over the last couple of years, it kind of comes down to what particular shade of gray.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. It's easy, but
wasn't there a movie about that?
I'm so old. Last time I was at Shaw, or pre-pandemic, they were telling us gray was going to come, and I'm like, gray. Like,
okay, so that would have been about,
if you think
how
about
many
it,
years ago?
Like 6 maybe, right? 5, not that long ago. Trends changed so fast, and like, you're going to be able to accessorize with these colors around the gray. It's going to be a neutral palette. I'm like, you're crazy. But here we are,
so,
right?
So Joel, that was probably going back about 10 years ago when, if you think about that, think about it, there's these overarching, I'll call them 10-year trends, which gray has been about a 10-year trend now.
So we're coming out.
Right. And so,
so I'm putting gray flooring. Pam and I want to put gray flooring in. We're like the dumbest people on the planet. Like we want to redo our kitchen with gray flooring.
Maybe don't do gray flooring at this point. Go for more of that what I'll call a true brown, or even a lighter, very more natural look. It can have a
Karen,
touch
you
of
just
gray,
gave
but
me
don't
$8
do too
grand.
much gray.
We have nice, dark, natural brown. You just saved me like $8 grand. She's gonna watch this. Pat him, watch Karen's pod.
That's right.
We are like trending in the right direction.
Actually, you are, if you've got a mid-tone true brown or a lighter true brown, because the grays are already now starting to trend away from gray, going back towards more of these, well, I'll call them true browns and these warmer colors, not red, red and orange.
I love and hate having strong personalities on podcasts because I got to keep steering the boat and interrupting. Like, we're trying to talk about the color guard, damn it. So I don't know what to call it the color guild. It's got to be based on the Wizard of Oz, like the Lollipop Guild. But I love the term guild. But a color marketing group, CMG.
CMG.
So
but
what?
We can go with color guild.
No, that's fine.
AKA.
It's not the right term. It's only. So I guess in the simpler, I always like to say, explain it to me like I'm 12, like they say on the internet, right? So explain it to me like I'm 12. What is the color marketing group?
Color marketing group is the sole focus of that organization is to forecast color trends. There is a high degree of science to it, meaning looking, just like you were talking about with the shop floor group, looking at colors, what's influencing color, what's causing it to trend in certain directions, but also, when you really get down to it, there's a variety of colors that trend each year. It's never just one color, but it's then actually taking those colors as they're shifting and as they're moving, and then actually going back and implementing that at your company.
How many people are on the Secret Society of Colors, or whatever?
Overall, the Secret Society of Colors.
A new name.
You get like they find you and tap you on the shoulder, like you're gonna be one of our color people.
Yes. I'd say there's several thousand colors.
Okay, so can I join it if I wanted to?
You could join. Yes, you could join it if you wanted to.
But you're on the board.
I'm maybe not quite on the board, but been involved with the color marketing group as part of their the forecasting arm of the color marketing group for about 15 years.
And then you guys pick like the color of the year, right?
That's excellent question. So Pantone, who is Pantone calls themselves like the color. They do the color communication, meaning they've got a swatch book, and that's how you actually identify color. If you're in our industry, you'll use that like a paint swatch book to actually identify a specific shade of blue. But if you're in any other industry, fabrics, textile, graphic design, and you're trying to identify a specific shade of color, you would use the Pantone matching system. So Pantone attends these meetings as well, the color marketing group, the Secret Society of Color members, and they what they do is they do a brilliant job with their marketing, and they identify one color, and kind of call that they refer to that as the color of the year.
Which is what right now?
Very Perry. It's a purple color, which if you think about it, that's not meant for home interiors. That's fashion. That's design. It's technology or sports teams. Yes.
He's probably got a whole bunch of shirts that color, I have a feeling.
Very Perry.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit.
There's a little bit of purple in there.
Thank you for noticing, Joel. I appreciate that. But isn't it true, like the color marketing group, they get together and then they look at, hey, what's going to be, where are these going in 4, 5, 6 years? And then you're just, you already know. It's about
a 3 to 5 year forecast ahead of time. And that's done. I mean, and all industries tap into it. So it's everything from fashion design to interior design, graphic design, technology, automotive, all kind of working off of those same forecasts.
And I think it's so funny because and again, I could be wrong. In my little brain, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, hey, every industry is going to start looking at white. Well, who is putting the white out? Well, we all are, but we just think it's going to go that way. It's like, it's so self-fulfilling in my opinion. Like, well, you're all saying it. So then we all just become influenced. Like they said, gray's out, shit, gray's out. I didn't know gray
There
was
is
out. Yeah.
there is a lot of self-fulfilling prophecy that has to do with this. Yes. And if you think about it too, some of it, like gray being out, we get tired of gray. I mean, everybody, I mean, gray has been one of those huge 10-year trends, and people get tired of it after a while, and it starts to shift.
Sure. I have a question, similar kind of on the same vein. I have a personal opinion that during the pandemic, trends literally went on pause. The color marketing group wasn't getting together. The home shows weren't being done. And again, maybe not on colors, but on overall trends, I didn't feel shifts, at least in here in little Drexel, Wisconsin. I didn't see new things coming out. It was more like, hey, let's just keep rolling what we got. If anything, people are scaling back the colors and choices, but because they couldn't voice that, hey, this is the new mojo. There wasn't a space to go show it to a new designer. So we just kind of roll. I feel like we've been on pause for 2 years. And I actually think trends might change faster now because, again, my opinion, might change really fast now because we've been kind of cooped up in more ways than one, even trends where it's like, gray's totally out because I got to get out of the pandemic.
Yeah. Or did we skip?
What are you guys saying?
Did we skip anything?
There trends continued forward, but you're right. The communication of them, the visualization of them slowed down a little bit, and companies' introductions of them slowed down a little bit.
That's what I meant more so, right? Like
Yeah.
it was hard to launch anything.
Correct.
Like, are you guys doing factory tours yet?
We're doing factory tours. Yes, we're doing factory tours. We're doing training on site. I mean, everything is really kind of back to normal, I guess, as much as normal can be.
Beth, how many times have you been to the Dura Supreme factory? Ballpark.
7.
What's your best memory in the factory or out?
Oh, I still just love watching their team doing the specialty finishes on cabinets. I just think that is just a true artist, and what they're doing there just amazes me every time that someone has the patience to do that.
I personally, I have a couple of favorite moments. I think I've been there. I don't know. It seems like I've been there a lot, maybe 2 or 3 times. But I love seeing what do you call it? The weathered, the beat down.
Yes.
Well, what's the actual term for it, Karen?
Well, you're talking about the artisan finishes, which it could be weathered finishes, heritage
Come on,
paint,
Joel.
heirloom patina. There's
Heirloom patina is always one of my favorite terms, such marketing terms. I love it. So you go there, right? And there's like, hey, the guy in my garage can do heirloom patina too. And he literally takes a hammer and just beats it, right? Randomly. I've seen that. And then I go to Dura Supreme, like, why the hell does heirloom patina cost so much? And is that girls? Is it like, don't you have like the same people doing that for like, that's their job?
Yes. The
So
same people do. And really what you're talking about there is kind of that hand detailing, which yes, involves, I mean, there's distressing tools and,
ridiculous.
Yes.
It's
and
the most stress-free job in the world. They beat the shit out of these cabinets, and it literally can take them up to 8 hours for one kitchen. But it's a work of art. I mean, they are taking a knife and they're taking these chains, and it's even hard to explain. But I'm like, that I want that job so bad because they have to go home stress-free because they just beat.
They take it all. They leave it all here. They take it all out here. All the frustrations, everything. They walk out. Yes, they walk out of here the calmest. Can you imagine?
But as you watch them, it is a work of art.
They leave it all on the floor.
They do.
Don't we say that?
A work of art. Like, it's worth the money. I mean, it is. Dura Supreme is the highest cabinet line we have, and I have it in my house. We built in 2008, and I'll give you super kudos on this little plug. I had it in 2008, and I didn't understand, legacy quality, right? Like built to last type premise of cabinetry.
Yes.
My cabinets are it's 2022. It's like the day we moved in. The finishes are perfect. The drawers work smooth. The garage, the garbage drawer that wears out and literally the screws fall off the hinges, if you will, they're perfect. The finishes, there's no wearing out on the handles. They are, heirloomish. They are, they'll be sold with the home, right? I mean, they're just really beautiful, truly custom cabinets. And if you can afford it, and again, they're not super high end, they're awesome. All right. So Thank you, Karen. Go ahead.
And you're
you.
talking about, again, that investment, that incredible,
You can pay me later.
Yeah, right.
thanks, Joel. It's that incredible investment on the in the upfront quality, making sure that all the way through, from the finish to the way that the drawer boxes are crafted, the way that the cabinet is actually built. It's investing in that quality all the way through, so that so it's lifetime warranty, and it's in your home and beautiful from the day that you installed it to the day that you pass that home on to the next, and you move onto your next home.
And I'll give any builder using Dura Supreme a plug. If they're using Dura Supreme, trust me, they're not skimping in other places you can't see.
Right. Yeah. It's a good
Right,
point.
they're not skimping. They're investing in your home with you. Not because they like our designers at Drexel, not because they just like Dura Supreme. It's they're investing in your home with you. It truly, truly is.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
good point.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really good. So a couple other things, and I could talk Color Guild all day long, but we've been doing business for like 14 years, 12, 14.
Mm-hmm.
So Dura Supreme. So a little bit backstories. How did we all get started with Dura Supreme? Does anybody remember?
Oh yeah, that's a long story there too. We were looking for a different cabinet line based on what we had in our stores. We knew we needed something very forward in trends. The lines that we carried were very.
What was it? Timber Truck or something? Timberland? Timber Spice?
Well, we had at that time Marillac, Great Northern, and Featherstone. We were looking for a replacement.
Oh.
Out of Wausau. Yeah.
They still in business?
No idea.
Uber
idea.
high, way too high end for what we were.
Yeah, so we needed something a little bit above that Great Northern that had more color variation, more wood species, and more interior options. So we went on a search for cabinets and ran across Dura Supreme. And lo and behold, it worked for us. I mean, it just fit in our lineup really, really well, and enabled us to offer some things to clients that we hadn't been able to in the past. And kudos to Dura. Over the year, they've kept up with the trends, thanks to Karen. And I always feel very confident that we have the things that our homeowners want in the future. We're not trying to pick out things that are 1999 colors yet, which is what we were dealing with at that time. So that's where we started with Dura. And then about 5 years ago, we worked with Dura to implement a new brand of cabinets, I would say. We introduced our Blue Door cabinets, which is, I would call it a pared down offering of Dura Supreme, but it's using their most popular door styles, most popular finishes, and offering still the same high quality cabinet, but at a little bit more affordable price.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say that was my, sorry, Joel.
That was my idea, right?
Yeah.
Of course, everything is.
That
was my most memorable time.
Honestly, I think that was honestly. I take credit for most things, but I actually think that was my pipe dream.
He signs my check, so I'll agree with him.
Yeah, right.
You guys disagree? You don't think it was? Whose idea was it then?
I know who it was, and I'm not going to say the name because he's not with Dura anymore.
It was Larry's idea?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
I'm like,
Beth,
No.
you guys came to us, right?
I think the idea, I mean, ultimately the idea came from Drexel, to hey,
There's no way the hell Mark Cross had that idea. No offense.
I think it was
Okay.
it was you and the team that first came up with the concept. And
Mark was excited about it because he's like, hey, I mean, again, the transitional backstory that I remember was, you know what? It's really expensive for switching out lines. It's really, you think of a factory, right? Or even a garage built cabinetry. It's expensive to shift the focus, shift the door style, shift the color. So it's like, wow, if you could really narrow in the most popular, coolest shit out there and go with it, we can really fill our factory. We could probably reduce the cost a bit, and we can give some really cool kitchens when they're really super trendy, what people want at a really good price. If you guys do that, we're aboard. We'll give you your own brand. I probably
Yes.
don't. That's what I remember, but I remember things differently than most people. That's like that's not all.
Well, and that's actually great. I mean, a great way
I can
to
tell by her
describe
body
it.
language. She's like, well, whatever you want to remember, Joe.
Whatever, it doesn't matter who developed it. It's working fabulous and we love it. And we've been able to do some amazing projects for homeowners that they wouldn't have been able to afford to do in the regular Dura line. So that's the exciting
Yeah.
part.
I feel like when I read my autobiography, Beth's going to read it with a bottle of wine and just laugh. Like, none of this shit.
Right.
Lean over to Tim at the
Happened.
convention, being like, Joe wrote that. That's not actually. I was there for that. That's not that conversation at all. I'm
But
like,
but it's a
I don't
beautiful
remember.
story, and it's well written. So
Yeah, she'll get drunk and laugh about it. So yeah, whatever.
He was an English major. He could do it.
aha.
Brutal.
But that was the premise, is that, you know, kind of going back to trends, is that, you know, people put so much emphasis on their kitchen, right? And you guys were, I think, struggling a little bit with, hey, if they can't afford Dura and they need something a little bit lower, but their expectations were, hey, we want the Dura type quality, but we need it a little bit less expensive. And I think you guys were struggling with that, and that's why I think that this hit at such a nice price point, but still brought the value to the table. Certainly narrowed down, but, you know, and Beth, I remember, you know, when we were talking about memorable times, I mean, that's my most favorite memory, when you guys were up and we were walking through this and where it needed to be price wise, and the number you threw out, we're going to do this. If you guys can pull this off at this price point, we're going to do this. And everyone was like, oh, huh. And we've blown that number out of the water, which is pretty
Well,
cool.
and I think in year 2 that number was blown out of the water. So
You know,
Yeah.
and damn it, this was my idea. Because one of the biggest things was, you know, it's like Costco. It gives people somewhat limited options and an unlimited line. So it's like, let's put it in a package at a really good price with these few options. Damn it, I'm taking credit.
you can
You spent
take credit.
all 14 years. Honestly, when you first came in, you know, we were a smaller yards, kind of typical lumber yard. What was your first impression of Campbell Sport, Berlin, Kiel Building Supply at the time?
Me? You're asking me? Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I didn't know who you were talking to here. For me personally, I had actually heard about you. Like, you know, I don't know who these guys are. These, you know, who actually was who mentioned this. If I can name competitors, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I could just edit it out if I don't like it, but I'll.
Right, true, good. But like this Oostburg Lumber was, and I was actually working with them long ago, and they're like, these guys are like aggressive. I mean, they're from Campbell Sport. I think they got something up in Berlin and Kiel. Obviously, I think they were starting to run against you guys up in Kiel. But mine was like, hey, certainly lumber yard, but you guys always had an emphasis on cabinetry, and I don't know why. There's more and more lumber yards that are doing that now, but back then, 14 years ago, there just wasn't an emphasis. It was like, hey, how many 2x4s can we sell? And you guys had, you know, nicer showrooms for a small town. You know, I was surprised by that. I was also surprised just that the culture seemed a little bit different than what I was used to. You know, I started in Michigan, and all the little lumber yards in the area, you know, proactive. It was everything but that. And so it just seemed to be a little bit different culture. And then when we started to really get involved, and the push was on, hey, training, and not only the training on the product, but also on, hey, how do we sell this? But there was an emphasis on training that, candidly, I wasn't used to, but I just enjoyed it. I remember our first training, Albert was there, and he and I actually kind of did a little training together, and I'm like, who is this guy? But like, he would say anything. He called me names. We had a bunch of fun with it, but it was so focused on training and how do we get better, and the emphasis on cabinetry. You know, I have to admit, I never thought it would be where you guys are today, but I knew there was something special.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, and my dad, you know, I love my dad to death, and whatever. Got a lot of feelings for him, but I still think he's the best salesman that's ever worked here. Like that dude can sell anything and still can. Like he's still
Oh yeah, for sure.
early
Yeah.
70s sitting at a bar in St. Germain, Wisconsin. And before you know it, he's like, get over here. This guy's like a big builder or something. I don't know. We got to talk to him.
Okay.
You're on it.
Here we go. Here we
Yeah.
go. So yeah, pretty good stuff right there. So that's really, really cool. Other things we probably want to talk about, we should definitely always hit on. Unfortunately, lead times, problems within our industry. I hate to hit on it, but we got to do it. It's kind of like I talked about COVID on every podcast for like 30 straight freaking podcasts. So right now, we're normally Dura Supreme had been normally how far lead times?
For years and years and years, able to meet demand and fulfill demand, about a 5 to 6 week lead time.
By placing an order today.
Placing it, if you place an order.
This is where marketing teams are like,
Yeah, right.
Well, you know what? It's yes. Let me. Is this where we drink beer? Actually, there. Thank you. Take one for me too.
Yeah.
Right now, today, about a 17 or 18 week lead time for cabinetry that's ordered today, and that is very much a reflection of the demand.
Mark, I'm just doing it because I think our industry has went to weeks because I think somehow it sounds better, but I love telling people when it's coming in because that's actually, again, if you're listening as a salesman, I would strongly encourage, don't talk about weeks because weeks get construed, right? I hear 14 weeks and I hear May, or whatever that is, right? Like my brain goes right to a date. So if you do, how many weeks did you say? 17?
17, 18 weeks, which
Right, so again, 18 weeks is
it's
over 4
July.
months. Yeah, July. I was going to say, to me, it's July. You're going to see it after July 4th.
Yes. Yep. And crazy as it is to kind of think about that, that's really kind of, across the entire industry. That's flooring, that's countertops, that's appliances, even scheduling.
I haven't seen it in flooring. They
Really.
if you think about flooring, they primarily make it in Dalton, Georgia. And they control it's an integrated process, fully integrated. They're not bringing a lot of stuff from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
They did it through Billy Shaw and the people at Mohawk. It's a town of 50,000 people. They had a lot of cash. They vertically integrated it all. So did Dreamweaver, and it's all done right there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Home Depots and the lumber liquidators do overseas products, but we sell all basically American made, basically made in Delta, Georgia. And they've been somewhat insulated because they never went overseas for the hardware, the pigments, the colors, the whatever. So very interesting, but they've been really good.
Like you've seen a 20 to 40% lead time jump, or not even that? Some
products, not even that. Carpet's a dying product, but carpet's been same as it's always been. Now it's going to get nuts with petroleum pricing, but it's been really good.
Yeah.
And some of that too has to do with,
like Beth laughing at me. A flooring purchase is going to watch this and laugh at me like Joel has no freaking clue, but that's my perception at least.
well, but to some degree too, like just what you said, it's very vertically integrated, and there's not a lot of variations there. And with so many products, there's so many variations, and so just the stress on all supply, whether that's paint or a particular type of plywood, or the particular glues and resins within the plywood. There's kind of different stressors in all areas that start to affect the lead times.
That's really what I'm probably getting the consistent message from manufacturer industry. It's not so much, which I think we really struggled in 2021 as an industry. We said, hey, we'll get through this. We always got through it. We weren't really honest about our lead times as builders, as lumber yards, as manufacturers, and just thought, hey, we'll somehow make this happen. And I think this year, actually, we are conditioning, which is a word, which I don't really love that word, but we're setting expectations correctly to homeowners. I don't know when you're going to move in. I don't even know exactly the cost, but it's going to be amazing when you're done. We're just going to have to work through some patience here. And we got a plan, and I really think our industry was screwed up. I hope we never get back to that. How do you build a custom home as you go? Yeah, you picked out the windows. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for cabinets. Oh, a couple of months. You don't need to start with cabinets yet. What in the hell was that?
Yeah.
I mean, just order your house and then sit and let the builder build it. Like this, the lead time thing to me is in a real issue. If we communicate and kind of redo the business model as an industry, and I think we're doing that,
Mhm.
I think we got to get back to that. I mean, why were we waiting for cabinets to come in when the drywall was ready? Like that seems crazy to me. A little bit of cash flow concerns, but not really. Measurement concerns. Well, why do we need to measure things if you build it per plan? I don't really understand that. You know, it's like there's a lot of weird things in our industry that hopefully we cleaned up. So I don't totally mind the lead time thing. And I know you're in marketing, so you'll spin this wherever you want to spin it, Karen. But
But
we're doing this at every podcast. When do you think we're going to spin out of this? Where is there I haven't seen a light in the horizon yet on most manufacturers that I talk to. Do you see, yeah, hey, beyond the great reset, I call it, where the industry just caves? Because of so many complicated factors is the reason that we're here. You just can't clean it up overnight and say Dura added a third shift, right? Like that doesn't solve the problem. So what are you guys forecasting to get lead times down? Or are you saying this is kind of, I hate the new normal, but as far as we can see, this is where we're going to be?
as far as we can see at this point, which, projecting forward at, through 2023, this is, and I hate using that terminology, the new normal, but it is, it is, with just how quickly demand continues to mount for cabinetry products, specifically. I mean, homes in general, homes and renovating homes. I mean, there's huge demand across the board, but specifically with cabinetry, because those are the most functional, the most loved, the most used and abused home, areas within a home. The demand for cabinetry just continues to go up, up, up. And as far as we can see out into the future at this point, which is well into 2023, don't see the lead times changing too much.
So a couple of things there. If you're a builder, remodeler listening, or somebody at Drexel, adjust your business model to accept that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Align with partners that over communicate and can help you through that problem.
Over communicate and actually, meet the date. So when there's a date that's committed to, meaning right now, okay, so your cabinetry that you're ordering today is going to deliver the week of July 12th, that it's actually delivered the week of July 12th.
And all of it. I don't need 4 cabinets when I ordered 37. That's really
All of it. Yep. Because you have to be able to get the install complete, which goes on to the next steps.
with the doors on them.
Yes. And
And that hasn't been a Dura. Well, yeah, I think you're saying, Karen, trying to sell Dura Supreme a little bit. That's a Dura Supreme commitment. When we say July, it will be July. It will be complete. And what other manufacturers are struggling with? They might say 8 weeks, but it might come without doors. They might say 8 weeks, but it might be 16 or 24 or 30.
Right. Yep.
Well, price increases on the way up.
And that's the part about over communicating and committing, truly committing to those dates, because everything else is planned off of that. So, if it's a renovation, there's a kitchen that's coming out before that cabinetry is arriving. And then once that cabinetry is there, the installers have to be able to be there to get the cabinetry in place, which goes to then the countertops templated. I mean, there's a whole series of steps in the process. So actually delivering to those date commitments is extremely important.
Yeah. Anytime anybody fails, we all fail on that.
Everything backs up after that.
Absolutely. One thing you said interesting there was demand, because I think a lot of times we talk about the supply chain problems and little issues that happen to hardware and plywood and pigments and all the little stuff that's having a hard time coming overseas. But you kind of really centered on demand. How much higher is the demand from, again, pre-pandemic? How many more cabinets are being sold in the nation, or like, what does that demand look like? Do you have anything like that, Karen or Steph or Beth?
I don't know that I over the entire country, because again, there's so many different price points and types of cabinetry, but demand.
Well, what about micro, just like our business? I mean, if you take a look at our business, starting really in the first quarter of last year, the demand has gone up at least, I mean, you could say more than the 30% that we've grown year over
Yep.
year, right? Because then our lead times jumped. So maybe people took a different position, went a different direction. But then still continuing to grow. We just had a price adjustment at the start of the year, and how many cabinets did we get? I mean, we manufacture 3,000 cabinets ish a week, and we got
12 to 15,000.
yeah,
I mean,
about 15,000 cabinets in a weekend, New Year's Eve weekend. So, and you're like,
when you talk about demand, I mean, again, across the entire, I mean, it's 40 to 50%, and people manufacturers just cannot keep up. That's what. So yes, there's been supply chain interruptions, but some of the supply chain interruption too has had to do with
because of
demand.
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying a lot about restaurant analogies. I'm a Friday night fish fry, heartland of America, right, Karen?
Mhm.
But we're a Friday night fish fry, and I'm a 45-minute wait. Well, like you said, January 1st, 2 buses show up, and now I'm a 2.5-hour wait.
Mhm.
Even if I stay the exact same amount of business comes in, I'm still a 2.5-hour wait. The only way that gets reduced is when it's 10 o'clock at night and nobody comes in anymore, which is a great reset. Or I open up the hall in the back and actually restructure my whole company, which for Dura Supreme or anybody else takes planning and capital investments in years. And who's willing to do that? Because you're like, hey, how long term is this? And what's what are we really doing here? And frankly, we're making good money, so we have a long lead time. So what? Not so much Dura Supreme, but as an industry, right? So
Yeah.
it's like there's no way for it to just magically get to 6 weeks unless there's a huge shift in the industry, either a slowdown or massive expansion. I haven't seen any factories, because I think the complications, like I can get more shifts and more people if I could and do the money, but where's the plywood coming from, or the pigments or the hardware or all that? So it's a complicated thing. And I think you're right. Unless there's a slowdown coming, it's a demand thing. I do think, and I don't know if, I guess I question if this is a true fact. My opinion is also so many more cabinets in each home. Is that a trend
Yes.
we're seeing?
That is a trend also, because I mean, of course, cabinetry, kitchens, baths, but just the overall function of a home. When you start incorporate, there's home offices now, and actually expanding that into other areas of the home, just to have a landing space and a desk, so that Joel, you can be doing your Zoom meeting or your podcast in one area. One of your kids can be doing a remote class, in the living room, but set up, to where they've got a desk space. So multi-use spaces as well. And then taking that, of course, into laundry rooms and mud rooms. And it has to do with the overall functionality of a home, and the organization of it, and the overall design.
Yeah, and accessories too, right? All of the accessories
Yes.
that go into it as well. I mean, I think that has helped, just from an average sell price, that people are wanting function, and we've got some great marketing material on, not only the cabinetry itself, but what's in the cabinetry. And we've seen a huge spike with that too. People are like, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm finally going to do this project, and I'm going to do it really, really right with the right type of product and all the bells and whistles that are inside that cabinet. So it's going to look good.
Yeah,
and it's going to work well.
And what can this cabinet do? And again, 12 years ago, we were not putting, very often, again, maybe limited, cabinetry on refrigerator doors, finishing basements, mud rooms, pantry rooms. I mean, it was back in the day, quote unquote, when I was when I was younger, right? You do the kitchen, you got a couple of vanities in the bathroom, you call it good, maybe one cabinet in the laundry room or two with a little shelf. We're good. Now you're talking $5,000 in a laundry. I just saw a butler's pantry in maybe a 2,500 square foot house. My God, it was bigger than the first kitchen that I moved into when we built a house in 2000. Like, that's going to be like $7,000 in cabinets in the butler's pantry.
Yeah.
Not in your house. I'm like, are you preparing for World War III? Which again, maybe not enough. Maybe they actually are. So whatever. All right, we are at that point already. My final question. I loved having you guys on. This was great. I could do it all day. Really. Final question. Big, super big, giant billboard. You put anything you want on it. What's on it? and why. Beth, Steph, 3 times award-winning podcast people. You might already have this. We'll start with Beth, Steph, and then Karen.
Yeah,
Okay.
I used up a lot of my favorites at the previous 2. So I thought, well, what's something that's very timely? And I ran across this one today and I thought it just seemed perfect for our world. It's when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. I just thought that was really deep.
Wow.
That is
That
deep.
is deep.
I like, I'm speechless. That's good. Really good.
Yeah.
Good timing for where we are in 2022. I like it.
Right.
And needed in many ways.
Yeah.
Our industry included. All right, Steph.
I think much more simple. Love thy neighbor. ... And why I say that is just, just the, it seems to me that as people are with demand and supply chain issues and lead times, I mean, they're just over the top. And I just think that sometimes if we just treat people kindly, you typically get a lot more done, right? Or just like, political views or, this whole pandemic thing is like, just be kind to people, be kind to your neighbor. And you know what? Life just becomes a lot easier. And I just think that would be my billboard.
I like it. I'm good. 2 good ones. Karen?
Well, those were both beautiful and deeply philosophical, and I love that, and I just, my thought as you mentioned that was just to, and I'm gonna play off of the mission statement of Drexel, and because I think just homes and family. I mean, it's that a home is the most sacred space that we have, and we all in this industry are getting to work with with families and with homes to make them just a better, more functional and more beautifully designed space. So just going back to Drexel's core mission statement of supplying happiness to the heart, and to the heart, which is the home.
So what's your billboard say?
Supplying happiness to the heart of the home.
Okay, that's awesome. I love it. Okay, that's really good. So, color guild girl, billboard, you imagine it. What's the font color and what's the background?
For the billboard?
Yeah.
With the font color and the background. The background. Okay, the background would be a gorgeous kitchen space that's inviting, and I mean, kind of like this that just says,
with me in it.
Yes, with you in it, bellied right up to that bar right there.
I've never heard Scandinavian, so it's got to be a Scandinavian kitchen. I'm using that all the time. This looks so Scandinavian. It's so trendy.
So that is
Scandinavian now. I'm like, oh, can we do that Scandinavian style?
Scandinavian, and we'll know exactly what
How
that
do you want
means.
Sir, how do you want your salmon? Scandinavian. And then just
Font.
I would call that minimalistic though, and that's not how you want your sandwich at all.
I'll just be like,
right.
Scandinavian.
Pieces of bread. What's going on here?
The waitress will be like, what do you mean? Oh, the chef will know.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so kitchen background, the font color.
Navy blue, of course.
Oh, geez, man, that girl you can't get her off the marketing train.
Man,
You just true to her word.
Wow.
There is a color called Drexel blue, right? But yes, a navy
Royal.
blue.
It's just royal. The Pantone would be like royal blue, like it's pretty.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, there is actually we picked out like a Pantone blue.
I'm sure, yes, because it's a very specific shade of blue, so you have to identify it with a Pantone color.
Yeah, we had Stacy Stuffle at the time. Shout out to Stacy. That was like, Joel, we need our color. I'm like, yeah, royal blue. She's like, that's not a color. Like,
Nope, it's not.
It's a shade.
Yeah,
Damn it.
So
10,000 shades of royal blue. Which one?
Yeah, at one point it was, the 100-665. I have no idea. Well, thank you all for coming on. I super appreciate it. Love all you guys. Love was the theme here, and love having Dura Supreme and you guys as partners. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. Love working with the Drexel team.
Best in the business. See you guys.
Bye.